maybe we can just go ahead and open the floor. Okay. 那请问有观众要提问的吗？Because I just landed from Beijing myself. 请麦克风是不是要传给观众 ？Yeah, it's been 6 years since your last solo at Dash 2013.
那我想请问，为什么会选择就是球鼓那么危险的东西出现在舞台上？因为踩到很可能会受伤。
The question is about the dropping of the acorns at the end because it seems a bit risky if you step on it, it might hurt your feet or something.
It's okay. The original idea was much worse. The original idea, the scenographer, Mirella Weingarten, wanted stones this big. But when we were testing it, it was going into the audience, so she said, it's okay for art if you kill a few people, but I said, you cannot kill people. You cannot kill the audience that are coming to see the show. So we argued about that a little bit, because I said we won't have a tour, nobody will book us if people are dying in the show. So she agreed to change it to pine cones. So this is much, much less harmful.
简单翻译一下，因为他说最早这个舞台设计甚至想用大的石头，但是如果万一滚到观众席会把观众他说不小心杀掉了，所以他说这样对这个巡回是非常不好，以后没有人要 book 他们了，所以他们后来改用这个还比较可观一点的这个灯光。谢谢。刚是这位全部。对，他说艺术不能杀人。
Good evening. I really love your show. It seems to dig into the human emotion, fear, loss identity. I have 2 questions. I found out on your website there's a similar program called Choto Zenos. It's for kids. Can you talk about that? And then the second question is, you sort of destined to be an interface between the East and West culture. And you were from an Eastern cultural background, but you were born and brought in London. So I'm sure the culture shock for you is happening all the time when you are growing up. So you can tell from your dance program, your work, it's cover the East and the West. For example, the Daisha,
要简短一点那个问题，因为还有其他。
Yeah, and then you also choreograph Giselle, which is a ballet, classical ballet. Can you explain how you make that connection to the Western story, classical ballet? And then do you make that connection with your background?
就是简短的说一下，就是关于他跨东方跟西方文化，毕竟他从一个比较巴基斯坦对不起孟加拉裔的这样背景出发，对，然后又编了吉赛尔这些西方的这种浪漫芭蕾古典作品改编的，然后甚至有一个你看到还有一个儿童版的这个作品，想提跟他请教。
I made a solo called Desh in 2011. I think I brought it here in 2013. So after that, we decided to make a children's version. But I invited a director called Sue Buckmaster, who's a wonderful director for children's shows. So she reimagined Desh, and we felt that it was so important. The response of the children was so important to me that we felt as a company that we wanted to also do Xenos. It's a harder subject because it's about war. But I think we have to relook at history, and we have to reteach history in a new way. I think in a more through another lens, and children also need to be part of that.
那因为他的前一个作品 Dash 就是有翻成家园哈，2011年的作品，然后2013年也在国家剧院演出过。那后来他们做了一个邀请一个导演，他比较针对儿童剧的部分做一些改编，然后给儿童观众去看，然后回响非常的热烈。所以他虽然这个作品是比较沉重的主题，关于战争等等，他觉得也应该有一个儿童版，因为毕竟历史也是一种新的对儿童的一种新的教育的一种改观的一种方式。所以他决定做这样的一个主题。
And the answer to the second question, East or West, it's interesting because I grew up in a very interesting condition, family condition, because my father owned an Indian restaurant and we lived above the Indian restaurant, and it was a very small living room, and my sister and I were there, and we had these, my father on one side of the room would have a VHS video recorder, and he would watch Bollywood films. And my mother, on the other side, she used to work in Decca Records. It's a record company called Decca. I don't think it exists anymore, but so she used to collect records from the company, and she used to put like ABBA and Tom Jones, and but they used to compete with each other. But Bangladeshi style is not to tell each other, you just do it. So he would put it louder, then she can't hear, so she would put it louder. So I grew up in this kind of cacophony of different sounds, and we were living right in the main street, in front of the main street, so the sounds of traffic, and so I grew up in a very mixture of cultures. And my mother was a literature expert, but she wanted me to learn. She used to tell stories, never from just the Bangladeshi story history, but she told stories, myths from Greek mythology, from Hindu mythology, from Chinese mythology. She was very well versed in world mythology, so we grew up with mythology from different cultures, so it never felt East or West for me. It was, we say it's East or West. Yes, we have different cultures, but the human condition is the same. We all know what love is. We all know what sadness is. We all know what it means to lose something, whether you're Western or Eastern. We share more than we are different.
那提到关于这种所谓东方西方文化的这个交融，他说他自己的成长背景很有趣，因为他爸爸开一个印度餐厅，他们家房间就住在楼上，所以他爸爸很喜欢放一些用那个早期的 VHS 录影带放到好莱坞的电影啊，但是他妈妈却是一个非常有文学素养的，所以他在因为那个 Decca 的这个唱片公司工作，常常会带回来一些比较西方的流行音乐，像 ABBA、Tom Jones 这些，所以两个爸爸妈妈就在比大声，这边可能客厅这边知道。传统的那边又是现代的，或是东方的、西方的，所以他觉得说，这在成长的过程里面就很自然，在他这个背景里面交融。所以呢，他妈妈也非常讲很多关于一些神话的故事给他们听，不只是他们自己背景的，也有包括像中国神话、希腊的神话等等。所以他觉得他这种成长背景让他感受到人类其实有更多的共同点，关于不管爱或者是失去，或者是这些事情是。反而共同点多于相差的这个地
方。Thank you for your coming here to Taiwan because in the beginning, your first time here, I was in your audience. It was great, yeah. And I have a few questions. First one, because your performance always with a very nice stage design and also the music. So how do you process this performance, this your dance and or drama coming, the lights? Yeah, that would be my first question. And the second one, I admire your family bonding. It's really nice. I remember I asked you before the question, if you were not a dancer, what will you be? You say you want to be a pilot, and I'm surprised it's your last solo dance. So what's your plan after that? And also, do you think your encourage your children to dance on the stage? Thank you.
3-4个问题起哈，就是从最开始他来台湾就看过，所以是一个粉丝，然后再想问他整个舞台的这种元素，包括舞台的设计啊、音乐、灯光这些怎么样凑在一起哈，或是构思，然后你问他如果不跳舞未来要做什么，因为这是他的最后据说最后一个歌舞哈等等。So the first one is about how you pull together all the set decor, the music, the lighting.
I don't separate lighting from dance. Everything is movement for me. Music is movement. Actually, movement is first. In order for you to see, in order for light to happen, there is a movement. There's waves. For sound to happen, a vibration needs to happen. So I'm being a little bit selfish because I'm saying movement is priority. But really how it comes together is really the story has to be the central importance. If I feel that at this moment, at this scene, that message can only be said by lighting and not moving, then it should be lighting. It's whatever serves the story, really.
其实他觉得他这些东西，这些不同的舞台的元素是合在一起的。他说最核心当然是动作，因为毕竟他自己身为舞者编舞家，他以动作为出发点。但是呢，他在这个说故事的这个情节里面，如果可能在这个环节上，灯光更有效的把这个氛围或这个情节剧情交代清楚的话，他觉得就可以用灯光来替代。他觉得这些东西是互相辅助的。然后呢，其实他说甚至声音声波也是都是因为有一些动作才会产生这些不同的效果。
I think to the second question, I think I would like to. I wanted to be a pilot for my mother because she missed her home, but now I have children, and her home is now where my children are. So I don't need to be a pilot anymore. I think I'm going to go more into directing and choreographing. Because at the moment it's very difficult for me to do this kind of show in terms of the amount of time I have to prepare to prevent injury. And to continue this 1 hour, 5 minutes full length piece, I have to train all day. So it takes a lot of my time, but I want to spend more time in the studio creating, so it will free me up to make other work.
那至于当初他说为什么会想要当这个飞机的驾驶，因为他那时候是想要为了他妈妈可以，例如开飞机载他回家，因为他妈妈有这个乡愁嘛。但是现在他已经有小孩了，然后妈妈就是含饴弄孙，这样就不会再那么想要回亚洲，所以他就放弃了那个想法。但是目前他为什么会希望比较把未来的时间投注在编创或者导演部分？因为他说像今天这样一个1小时的演出，他必须花1整天的时间来训练，免得避免这种受伤等等，所以他希望可能未来精力比较朝这个方向。
And the third one, my children, I don't encourage them to dance. I think they dance anyway all the time, if you can call that dance, but they do a lot of Beyonce, and Lady Gaga, and my son particularly, but my daughter is a little bit dark. She's 6 years old, and she likes very depressing music like Radiohead, Tom Waits, Nick Cave. These are suicidal kind of music, so I'm a bit worried about her. She likes everything that is dark and pessimistic, and my son is the opposite, full of light and Stevie Wonder. But I think I don't want. I've seen my masters who have children, and one of the masters is Pandit Biju Maharaj, who's like a torchbearer of Kathak. His family is the Kathak origin, really, and he is the torchbearer. That's the last one. The son is brilliant, but he will always be compared to the father. And in a sense, I feel I don't want my children to be bitter with me. do what they want to do. What's important is that they love what they do. That they feel that this is my life. That I cannot live without this. There are people who choose to dance, and there are people who want to dance, and there are people who need to dance. So I want them to need something so badly that they cannot live without. Otherwise, for me, life has no meaning. I don't mind what they do.
关于他的孩子，他对他们其实没有一定希望他们走舞蹈这条路哈，因为他觉得他们其实已经在手舞足蹈，通常他们会学一些像 Beyonce 啊或者 Lady Gaga 的这种比较流行舞蹈的动作。那他说他儿子是比较乐观、比较明亮的哈，他喜欢一些像 Stevie Wonder 这种歌曲，但是他女儿就感觉比较忧郁一些，他喜欢像这种Radiohead 啊、Tom Waits 这种比较忧郁派的这样的这种歌，所以他觉得比较担心他的女儿。然后，但是因为他就相对看他的一些以前 Kathak 的这个舞蹈的师傅们，他们的这个家族就是所谓的 Kathak 的这个算是始祖哈。他的儿子当然他觉得他那个师傅的儿子也很厉害，但是总而言之，人家一定会去比较他的爸爸，对不对？就觉得说好像他不如他的父亲那么的优秀，所以他希望他儿子小孩以后不会有这样的一个阴影，所以他觉得他们只要喜欢他们自己做的就好。因为他说有人是想要跳舞，而有些人是必须要跳舞，他觉得一定要有那种渴望这样才去做比较有意义。
But I'm quite traditional, so that's the answer I gave you. But traditionally, deep down, I would like my daughter to be a doctor because we don't have a doctor in the family. So when I get old, that's one thing. And my parents are amazing cooks, both of them. But they never let me cook. So I don't know how to cook. So when my parents go, who's going to cook? So maybe my son.
他说他有一个比较传统、比较可能或许比较自私的一种希望，就是说他们家族里面都没有医生了，所以他希望搞不好未来他女儿可以当医生。然后他父母都很会煮饭，所以因此他不会煮饭，所以他在想说，那以后他父母走了之后怎么办呢？家里谁要煮饭给他吃？所以搞不好他儿子可以成为一个厨师。Yeah， 那可能最后一个问题好吗？后面倒数第二。那 OK 好吧，那你然后 Horu。
Hello. Well, I first time saw your performance is when I was in high school and it is in Taiwan. And that moment really inspired me a lot. I never saw a dance can do in this way. And that impression for me at that moment is, wow, it's so strong. And now is with the time. And I think the word is not strong. There's something, other things there. And my question is, I wonder, what is this change also for you with the age or with being father or all this experience? Something really changed inside of you, and I wonder what is that?
其实大堂都可以不用翻译。他在问说，因为早期的时候你还在青少年的时期，高中国高中就看过他的舞，然后对他的这个印象很深刻，觉得非常强而有力，也很有渲染力。但是现在你觉得好像又增添了更多的层面，然后想要问是不是因为跟年纪或作为一个父亲有什么样的改变？是吗？
It's a good question. I think in the when I was younger, it was really about ego, and it was about showing power. And because we want to control our life, so as you get older, you get wiser in the sense that you realize you're not actually in control of anything. You never were. We never are. And so in a sense, it's about surrendering to not being in control. So it's about letting go, in a sense. And that took me a long time, I think. I've seen dancers much younger who surrendered much earlier. Because they understood that there is a depth there. And also I'm looking for something else. As you get older, I'm not looking for... You know, there's a wonderful choreographer in this country. I mean, of course, Ling Wai Ming is a master. But another one is there's a woman who I met last night. Ling Li... Yeah. And there's something very profound about her process that I'm interested in. It's not for everyone. She's not going to be super famous. She's not popular. It's not popular art. But there's something deep. So I'm interested in as you get older, you start to, each second becomes very valuable because you're running out of time. So you start to think, how can I make deep work, not just exciting work? Yeah.
他说这是个很好的问题哈，因为其实他觉得说他或许年轻一点的时候比较精力旺盛，然后比较对于自己这种自尊心、自信心非常的饱满，所以他可能比较强调一种在舞台的这种感染力哈，或者一种震撼力这样子。但是他现在年纪比较大之后，他也觉得说我们已经没办法，他了解到我们没办法掌控一切，所以呢，他怎么样去设法去可以例如一些比较断舍离这种概念，就是说可以去放下一些事情。那所以呢，他觉得当然像台湾，他说有很多非常棒的编舞家，像林怀民老师，或者是他昨天遇见的林丽珍老师，他觉得他的这个林丽珍老师的创作过程也非常的有一种厚度、一种深度，因为他觉得说每一分每一秒，我们现在知道说其实时间是很难去抓在手里的哈，所以怎么样去让它更深刻，所以让这一切就是更珍贵这样子。好的，那后面那位先生。
The bodyguard.
后面有一位观众。
Hi, I noticed you use baritone saxophone in your band, and compared to violin and cello, I think it's not common for audience. I'm just interested how you choose the instrument for your music. Thanks.
所以关于他选的乐器是吗？比较少有这种低音萨克斯风配合这个小提琴、大提琴这样的一种组合。
Actually, I didn't choose all the musicians. Vince, the composer, chose them. And what we knew is that we both agreed that we wanted something that's horn, sound of horn. Because it feels always in a battle, there is the sound of horn. Whether it's a conch in the Mahabharata, or whether it's in this, or bagpipes in the Scottish, when the Scottish go to war, there's always the sound of horn, so we wanted the sound of horn, and also it sounds very military. The baritone saxophone just happened to be, she plays many different instruments, many different wind instruments, but it was really Vince who chose. I chose the Indian classical musicians because I knew them. And then Vince kind of chose around those two Indian classical musicians.
他说因为其实主要是这个作曲家的一个选择哈，但是他们确实有先讨论一个共同的一个概念，就是说跟战争有关的，常常是一些比较像这种 horn， 就是一种可能是算是喇叭声啊这种号角，谢谢。对，就是会让人家想起这种战争的这种画面的这样的一些相关乐器，包括像他说苏格兰的那种bagpipe， 那个风笛这些，对，所以他们就有这样的共同点。那他自己是先选了那2位印度的这个乐师，然后这个作曲家再去搭配另外3位的组合。Yeah. So I guess you need to rush to your next destination, touring to Hong Kong, Shanghai, is that right? Or?
No, I'm going to London.
London first.
And then Hong Kong next week.
Okay, right. So, because I met some people in China, they're also expecting the show that's going to go there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.